Here's the lineup for the 700 class. In these big boys, we compared the Polaris Sportsman 700 EFI, Arctic Cat 650 H1, Honda Rincon 700, Kawasaki Prairie 700, Suzuki King Quad 700, and the Yamaha Grizzly 660.
We tested each machine for four-wheel drive, suspension, and power in real-world conditions.
And you're going to see how the world's toughest ATV delivers the goods.
First, let's see how they handle a variety of terrain like you might find out on the trail. We call it our steeplechase course. From a dead stop, our riders accelerate through a rock run, over a log, through a wash, then power through a corner and up a hill. Here's the report on the Rincon from the real world. With only 6.7 inches of travel up front and 2 star tires underneath, the machine bounces through the rocks. Going over the log, there's not much ground clearance at only 10 inches. Going straight is not a problem until you try and turn. The Rincon has lots of body roll and understeers. The handling is dicey and the machine tends to wander going up the hill. The Yamaha Grizzly comes out of the gate breathing hard through its carburetor. Watch out for those rocks and ruts. You only have a thin layer of plastic under those foot pegs for protection. You could call the Grizzly nimble or just simply twitchy. Is it the suspension or those wimpy aluminum rims and 2-star tires? Hitting bumps and leaning on those foot pegs gets tiring on long rides. The Suzuki King Quad doesn't rule in this group. Over bumps, the rear suspension stacks up, making for a harsh ride. With only 10.2 inches of ground clearance, the machine bottoms out on the log. Underneath, there's wimpy 2-star bias tires and stamped rims. The machine features double A-arm suspension with minimal travel, 7.1 up front and 8.1 in the rear. This Arctic Cat just can't play with the big dogs. Watch out for those rocks. A layer of plastic is all that protects you and your machine. The 641cc engine is the smallest of the group and does not have EFI. The handlebars feel high and wide. With its high profile, shortest wheelbase, and no stabilizer bar, it's a handful just to keep it on the trail. The Polaris Sportsman 700 with McPherson struts and IRS gives you that legendary Sportsman ride. PXT radial tires go where you point them and gobble up the terrain. The anti-sway bar adds stability. The 700 EFI Twin delivers plenty of power to the ground, rides great, and is gorilla tough. One leading magazine called it a formidable powerhouse, and EFI makes its throttle response lightning quick. Here are the times through the course. Polaris is the overall winner for time, suspension, power, ride, and handling.
Some ATVs claim to have four-wheel drive. With Polaris, you get two-wheel drive all the time and all four wheels pulling when you need it. What makes a Polaris special is its ability to automatically sense this and switch back and forth as the terrain changes for the best traction and ease of steering available. This keeps you going without losing momentum.
This test is what we call the rolling road. It helps you understand how four-wheel drive systems work. 3 wheels ride on rollers, and 1 wheel is held in place by an obstacle. Machines approach in 2-wheel drive, switch into 4-wheel drive, then climb over the obstacle. At least that's the theory. Watch carefully. The actual results will surprise you. The Rincon tries the obstacle in 2-wheel drive, then engages. One front wheel still does not move because of the limited slip differential. What's supposed to be 4-wheel drive delivers 3-wheel drive and then gives up. After switching into four-wheel drive in our tests, the Prairie 700 was erratic. It went in and out of gear on its own, 0 to full torque, only three-wheel drive. We had to stop, losing momentum, and grab a second lever to climb over. Thumbing the Grizzly into four-wheel drive takes 5 steps, and even then the four-wheel drive differential lock-in is inconsistent. The Yamaha Owner's Manual recommends coming to a full stop before engaging the four-wheel drive. How likely is that in the real world? With true all-wheel drive and that torquey 700 twin, the Sportsman rolls right over the obstacle and the competition.
Right here is the reason why the Sportsman can go from two-wheel to true all-wheel drive on the fly. It's called an automatic bidirectional overrunning clutch for you guys who are taking notes.
Here's two-wheel drive. Our smart technology automatically senses when the rear wheels slip, even before you do. Just flip the switch to engage both front wheels. It locks in with full torque, delivering true all-wheel traction. This is the easiest and quickest responding all-wheel drive on the market. And unlike any other machine, a Polaris engages and disengages all-wheel drive on its own, as you need it automatically when terrain or trail conditions change. So you can concentrate on the trail instead of thinking about which button to push and lever to pull. That's smart. What do you want out on the trail? True all-wheel drive or something less? Think about it. Now, let's get to the next test. We designed our bump course to deliver the same kind of punishment you're going to find out on an uneven trail. The Honda Rincon hops all over the place. You feel all 6.9 inches of front wheel travel. Watch the rider's hands. It's like operating a jackhammer. The Arctic Cat with no anti-sway bar pounds the bumps. Watch the front wheels slap back and forth as the rider struggles to go straight. Watch as the straight axle on the Kawasaki Prairie kicks up a storm, ratcheting both the rider and machine. Kicking and jumping, our rider had his hands full, keeping the Prairie on the course. The Suzuki King Quad gets bounced around from the start. Watch the handlebar feedback. Our rider fights to keep a straight line. The clumsy Grizzly is downright unbearable. See what 7.1 inches of travel up front gives you? Look at the punishment our test rider is taking. But it's no problem for the Sportsman 700 with IRS. See that suspension soak up the bumps? It keeps the rider on track and in control. Only the Sportsman keeps it all together.
The weight sled is a test of raw power and traction in the real world. Let's see what kind of guts these machines have when you drop the hammer in all-wheel drive.
When we hooked the 700 class up to the weight sled, we got some real surprises. All these machines have power, but they don't all deliver it to the ground. Check it out. The Rincon has minimal pulling power and under load tends to overheat. Those two-star tires could only pull a dismal 52 feet. The King Quad's 695cc could only scrape out 56 feet, with the front end tossing side to side the whole way. The Grizzly had a hard time getting started. The front tires never really dig in during this run, stopping at 60 feet. While the Prairie chugs out to 69 feet, watch the light front end lift, dance, and lose traction. This Arctic Cat is hard to tame. The diff lock four-wheel drive makes it difficult to navigate. The able-bodied Sportsman 700 EFI and aggressive PXT tires churn out 89 feet to win it easily. Here are the standings. Nobody, no way, beats Polaris. The Sportsman rules in the real world of 700cc machines. True all-wheel drive gives the Sportsman the edge over obstacles. Top marks for straight tracking and smoother ride go to the Sportsman with IRS. Nobody else compares. On the weight sled, it's all about power, and it's all about the Sportsman. Want to see more? Click on individual tests for each machine at offroadreality.com.